Good afternoon, grade 12s. It is a very big pleasure for me to be speaking to you this afternoon because tomorrow you will be writing Mathematical Literacy Paper 1 and on Monday you will write Paper 2 and I need to give you some information on these papers. But please remember, I am not an examiner. I am Renette van der Merwe. I am a subject advisor and these things that I'm going to give you are general tips that we are having for you, that we as subject advisors in the Free State anticipate is going to happen in the papers tomorrow. So let us please start. Grade 12, you must please remember, you are already having some marks. You work during the term during the year for your SPA marks. Now these SPA marks are going to contribute 25% of your final mark. After you have written the exam, they combine 75% for the exam and 25% for the SPA. So all of you, the marks has been submitted to your subject advisors and they are busy, as I speak, they are busy keying in marks all the time so that there is already for you some marks. So be confident, you are already having some marks. Remember that your paper tomorrow and on Monday is going to be 3 hours and 150 marks. Grade 12, I'm going to ask you very much to do the following for me. And that is to leave no single question out. I repeat, you are not going to leave any questions out. If you cannot do a question, mark it very clearly with a cross or something like that and return to that question when you are finished. Grade 12, please try. Try to answer the questions. I promise you, if you think clearly, you are going to write things there that's going to be worthwhile. We are not so much interested always in the answer as we are in the steps that you take to get to the answer. So you will be credited if your steps that you are giving us are correct. Which brings me to another point. Refrain from just writing answers. Please write your steps out. The paper that you write tomorrow will have 5 questions. And according to policy document, the questions must be in paper 1 on specific topics. In other words, there must be a question on finance, a question on measurements, a question on maps, plans and other representations of the physical world, and a question on data handling. Okay? The weight distributed of these questions, or the marks that we anticipate that they will count at the end of the day, you can see also on this slide. Finance, you will see 52%. That's a big part. So make sure that you are good at finance. At 3 o'clock, we are going to have a teacher who is coming to do for us some finance. Measurement, there is some 30% of the paper on measurement. Maps, plans, other presentations of the physical world, 23%, give or take, okay? This is not exact. They say plus or minus 5%. And then data handling, plus or minus 38 marks, 25%. So grade 12, you can see finance and data handling are counting a lot of marks. So make sure that you are going to grab those marks. What about probability? Probability will be infused in those questions on finance, measurement, maps, and data. Now remember, what is a probability? A probability is when we are going to count the probability of an event happening. So say for instance, we are looking at a die. A die, you may call it a dice. Dice is actually plural. A dice has 6 sides. There is a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the die. So if I ask you, what are the chances that the die is going to land on a number 3? There's only one number 3 on the die, so the chances are 1/6. So in between these questions, first 4 questions, you will get some probability questions, but it is going to be infused. It will not be on its own. The other 2 things that you also need to please prepare for probability is the tree diagram and the contingency table. Lastly, question 5. Question 5 in your paper tomorrow will be an integrated paper. In other words, you are going, integrated question, you are going to get a question where there is a fusion of these topics, finance, measurement, maps, and data, where all of those can be combined. Okay. You must please remember that your paper 1 differs from your paper 2 in the sense that we make the paper on different levels. In other words, whatever you prepare for paper 1, you must also prepare for paper 2. Okay? You can look, here is according to the policy document, what percentage of the paper must in fact be on level 1 and 2. Now, these level 1 and 2s are what we call cognitive levels. Cognitive levels, or the word cognitive, is referring to the work that is done by your brain. So if it is a level 1 question, your brain doesn't have to do such a lot of work. If it's a level 2 question, your brain must do a little bit more work. And so we go on and on. So you will see that majority of questions that we are having in paper 1 is on level 1, where you can just memorize and you know, or on routine procedures. Grade 12, routine procedures are things that you have been doing in the class. So basically everything in paper 1 must be from things that you have done during the year. It is from known contexts or from familiar contexts. Okay, so please be aware that it is possible that there can be a multi-step question in paper 1, but that can only count a little bit of the marks. It cannot be a big part of the paper. When we are going to write paper 2, we are going to have now a bigger emphasis on the level 3, where we are going to ask you to apply your knowledge in some unfamiliar contexts, or we are going to give you some multi-step procedures to do, and where you will be doing reasoning and reflecting. So paper 1 basically questions on level 1 and level 2. It should be things that you have been doing. So there you can see level 1, which things which you memorize. It should be 60 to 65% of the marks. So 90 to 97 marks out of that 150 marks, you can definitely get. You must get it because it is things that you have been doing through the year. The next 35 to 40%, it is going to make up for the rest of the paper, which can now be level 2, and that's routine procedures. In other words, also things that you have been doing through the year. And then if there is a level 3 question, it will be very, very few marks allocated to that.